Well, when I was a young boy, my father died when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
And I went to a high school on Long Island, and we met a coach who was actually the football coach of the high school. And he, during the summer, ran a boys' camp
Right.
in Maine. And he knew that we didn't have much money, so he helped us go. He gave me a job as a waiter, but he also started to work with me and had me coach some young kids.
Okay.
And he taught me how to coach.
Right.
And he taught me how to teach fundamentals, how to be precise and disciplined, and how to work to understand that you have to, as a coach, you have to teach and make players better.
Yeah.
And he laid the groundwork, and then he whet my appetite. And I decided at that time, when I was about 14 or 15 years old, that I wanted to coach.
Wow.
And I followed everything that he taught me, and I was successful because of him.
Excellent. Excellent. And how long were you under his wing for?
Well, actually, I was under his wing until I was about 25, and then I was in the Army, and I got out of the Army, and he was then the athletic director at a college on Long Island, C.W. Post College.
Okay.
And I called him when I got out of the Army. I said, I have a teaching job in a high school. I'm going to teach English and history, but I don't have a coaching job. Can I watch your coach work? And he said, you better get down here as soon as possible, because he just lost his assistant and he needs an assistant coach.
Okay.
And I went there, interviewed, and I got the job.
All right. Wow. And how long were you there for?
I was there as an assistant coach for 4 years.
Okay.
And then I got a head coaching job at another university on Long Island called Stony Brook.
Okay.
I drove out there, and they didn't have a basketball program, and I just wrote a letter. I saw the university, wrote a letter to the athletic director and asked if he was looking for a basketball coach, and he said, well, I don't know, but I'll interview you. And I got the job on a part-time basis. I was there for 5 years. And then I went as a head coach, and then I went back to C.W. Post as an assistant coach, and finally became the head coach.
Right. And when you became a head coach, did you feel ready? Did you feel that you had everything that you needed to know at the time to get going?
Yeah, after the 4 years as an assistant coach, I definitely felt that I was ready. I was ready to be a head coach, and that's why I went looking for the job at Stony Brook. And it took us a while because they didn't have a program, and we built the program.
Yeah.
And then Post asked me to come back. They said, come back and be an assistant coach for a year, and then you can be the head coach.
Right.
And so that's what I did.
Okay. And after you became the head coach of that program, what was the next step?
Well, we did very well, and then somebody called me up and asked me if I would be interested in coaching in a European league made up of only American players, and I said yeah. And they told me how much it would be, and it was much more than I was making at the college.
Okay.
And I decided I wanted to try it, and I went to Israel, and it was called the European Professional Basketball League, made up of 7 countries in Europe with only American players, and we won the league. And then I came back, and I got a job with the Detroit Pistons as an assistant.
Okay, wow. Now, I mean, how did that league come about in Europe?
Well, some men in the United States knew some people in some European countries, and they were venture capitalists, actually.
Right.
And they thought that they could start a league with American players in Europe, and that people would come and watch them. But they didn't realize that unless you had European players or national players on your team, the people wouldn't come out and see you. So the league lasted for a year.
Right.
It was successful at the end of the year, but people realized that you couldn't make money that way.
Right.
Because you were competing with the teams, the local teams, and you know, they had such tradition and people identified with the European players or the national players
Right.
that it was very, very difficult.